Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Hey. So, for my bold moment this week, I had to cut somebody off.
Really?
Yeah. Uh-oh. And it sucked because we were friends and, you know, I thought we were going to be in this thing forever, but sometimes you got to do something that you don't want to do.
That's true. It's necessary, though. You see how that can help you grow? Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay to do that sometimes, because that was my bold moment of the week, too. Like, I had to cut somebody off. And, you know, you live and you learn.
Okay,
Yeah.
what about you?
Mine was a little bit different. I passed all my first exams.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
Big nurse in the building.
Yep,
Up the volume.
Yep, that's me.
We love that.
But you know what? That's a great way to start off with the show. Welcome to
The Bold Way.
The show where stories of courage and resilience take center stage. We are your hosts for this first season. I'm Mariama.
I'm Aaliyah.
And I'm Cindy.
Here, we celebrate the journeys of Black students, sharing their triumphs, challenges, and everything in between. Today, we'll be exploring the topic of college and academia in a post-pandemic world. We all have experienced how different it is for all of us now, how we learn, how we study, socialize, and juggle school along with work.
Before we get started, we'd like to give a special shout out to our producers and coordinators of the BRASS program, Chelsea King and Chelsea Jones.
Woo! Snaps.
For all that you do and for creating a safe space for Black and minority students alongside giving us opportunity to represent ourselves and the students here at ACC. So going back to what Mariama said about academic experiences.
Tell me about it. Let me hear it.
I just wanted to go ahead and jump into mine. So I'm 28. I started my higher education, so my college journey when I was about 24, because when I was 18, I pretty much convinced myself that I knew everything and that I was at school long enough.
Don't we love that? Don't we love that?
So, I just started working right after high school. I was working at like Google, Indeed, Apple, like all of these places. And then, I was meeting people that had college degrees and they were always talking about debt. And, like some people were talking with...
That'll make you run from it.
That'll do it. They were always talking about debt. They were always talking about, or just some people were saying that they didn't go to college because they couldn't pay for it and, all of that. Well, that wasn't the case for me because I was technically, if I went to college, I got free tuition due to my mom being in the Navy.
Okay.
For the Hazelwood Act.
Thank her for her service.
Right.
Thank you for your service.
Amen.
Right. So, I just really had to have a conversation with myself about why I was choosing not to go to school.
Right.
And I think it boiled down to me not liking to do what people tell me what to do.
Right.
So I'm like, I was just kind of, there was no reason why I didn't, I was just choosing not to go, just to not go. And so then I had to think about like, all of the people who had worked hard to get me where I am, which is like my mom and my grandma.
Yep. My
mom was a single mom, and I was very much raised in a child's place. I had a wonderful childhood. Then I had to go back, even further. Like, we have my mom, we have my grandma, but like, I'm someone who knew my great-grandparents.
Right. Oh.
Right, so we have my great-grandpa, who, whenever my grandma would speak about him and like different things, so he knew how to do everything. He was a butcher, a rancher, a fisherman, he knew how to do everything, but back then you had to know how to do everything.
Those things, absolutely.
Especially with your hands.
Yeah.
Because
they were probably living in the country, right?
Well, yeah, living in the country. And when I say this is my great-grandpa, like, we talking about early 1900s, so like, he couldn't read, he couldn't write, so he had to know how to get out in there in the field. But my grandma would always put emphasis on how my great-grandmother was educated, like she could read and write. And so I thought about it like, here I am, all these opportunities,
absolutely,
all these opportunities, and I'm sitting up here choosing not to take them, all these resources, and then that wasn't fair to me. It wasn't fair to my mom, my grandma, and it definitely ain't fair to my ancestors, considering at one point we couldn't even rewrite, learn.
And their wildest dreams. You know what you just said? Like,
Right.
your ancestors' wildest dream. That's how I always like to look at it. That's why, like, it's like education, like, it's important.
It's important.
Yeah.
You have
true.
to.
They had to
You know?
work for it.
Yeah, and they were denied.
Yeah.
Can you
essentially.
imagine? My journey with college has, you know, pretty much been on like a stellar road. I've done pretty well for myself, but accessibility is a big thing. You know,
sure.
like these things are accessible to us. We
is.
can
Right.
go to school and actually just learn. And it's not that simple. Some people don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
You know, and especially talking about like Black people, you know, and how your grandparents like.
We hear a lot how school ain't for everybody. You know, you hear that saying all the time.
Do you agree with that?
I don't. I don't agree with that statement because I think that education is for sure for everybody.
Absolutely.
And there are ways that we can get an education.
You gotta be kind to yourself, right? And for those of you listening and watching, like, give it all you got. That's the most you can ask from yourself, and just keep going.
Be kind to yourself.
It's never exactly like
kind
being
to yourself
kind,
always.
being kind. You know, and so like for example, like my experience in college. So I'm a 2020 baby. Okay, I graduated high school in 2020. Right, that was the notorious year. We all experienced COVID. Wow, that seems like so long ago.
It does.
That seems like so
It
long
is,
ago,
though.
like 4
It's
years
like
ago.
4 years ago.
Stop.
Going 5.
Stop. I'm still
a long
18 in
time.
my mind. In my mind, I'm still 18. But, you know, like for example, like what I was talking about, like accessibility when it comes to school, right?
Right.
Like, so none of my immediate family, other than my siblings, have degrees.
Okay.
So I come from a father who didn't go to school formally, right? Because you still can be educated.
Yeah, you can
Just
still
not-
learn.
You probably didn't go
You
through
can
the school
read.
system,
You
right?
have to go to school.
You know, but there's that. So my mother as well, you know, she was a graduate in another like country. And
okay.
sometimes that doesn't transfer over necessarily here.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, the school systems are different.
Yeah. Right.
So, which I mean, like, you can still be educated, but not go probably through the American school system.
Yeah, I got
True.
you.
Being able to go to school is so important. The workforce wants to see that you stayed committed to getting a degree.
Let 'em know.
Okay, no matter where you got it from.
Talk to them.
All right. I know that for some people, prestige matters, and for others, it's all about accreditation, but go to school, you know? Go to school and do what you gotta do. What about you, Cindy?
So my journey started way after COVID.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in 2019.
Okay.
Right before.
Right before.
So this was back home in Africa, in Botswana to be particular. And I graduated in 2019. So I planned to go to school in 2020. I wanted to do medicine.
Okay.
So I had applied for, to go to a med school in China. So when COVID came, I just had to take a step back because it was so difficult. I'm sure it was difficult everywhere, even this side. But at home, it was so difficult because you couldn't go to school. I couldn't apply to any school. And the schools that I had applied to rejected me because now we had the whole China and the rest of the world, So nobody could go to China and actually get to study. Yeah. So
hectic, a disease outbreak.
it was so bad.
Yeah.
So I just took a step back. So now, after that, in 2020, I had to now actually step aside from education. I really wanted to go to school, but I couldn't because my mom lost her job then. And I just had to, step aside and wait for my other sibling because I have 2 siblings. So I had to wait for them to go to school and get there, go to high school, finish primary school. I'm sure they call it elementary here. I think. So I had to finish primary school. So it was a little bit difficult, but it was
But
still
you
okay.
hopped back in it, though.
I
Yeah,
did
like,
because when I applied to ACC in 2023, and they took me. And then
She's like, I'm here now.
Okay.
And So I'm I'm the first person in my family to get into the medical field.
Hello.
So
Turn that up.
so
Cindy.
that's a big thing for me. I didn't think I would get an opportunity after all that, the COVID and everything, because I had already kind of given up. But now, looking back, everything just aligned, and I'm happy for that. So
Yeah.
She's breaking barriers.
I'm happy for that
I am.
too.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
So that's
things work out.
Mhm. They do. They do. So now it's just me and school. It's eating me up, but it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's so funny. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
So I graduated high school in 2020. I took a long break, but coming to ACC has given me the support I needed in order to make these dreams come true. ACC is amazing. You should come check it out. It's your time with ACC.
We're in class 66 of ACC Fire Training Academy.
I'm really hoping to just start working as soon as I get out of here because I'm itching.
They have to trust their gear, they have to trust each other, and they have to trust us as well.
You're in the fire, like you are the fire.
But we push their limits and test their limits.
I have tunnel vision and I feel weak.
Welcome back to The Bold Way. For our next segment, we aim to bring on incredible guests from our community who inspire us to be bold and motivate us to be our best and purposeful day in and day out. Today we have Nelly Nell.
Nelly is a virtual project manager and certified Scrum Master with over 10 years of experience helping entrepreneurs, small businesses, and nonprofits turn their visions into reality. She also serves as a project manager for Black Mamas ATX, supporting efforts to advance Black maternal health equity in Central Texas. In addition to her project management work, Nelly is a certified custom wig maker with over 12 years of experience. She specializes in hair loss solutions and creates high-quality wigs, toppers, and other hair pieces. As the owner of Nelly's Wig Beautique, she empowers women by designing custom units that reflect their unique personalities while also educating cosmetology professionals in wig making. Yes, ma'am. We sure
Welcome
do.
to the show.
Welcome to The Bold Way.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
How are you feeling today?
I feel great. I'm excited. I feel good.
Love that.
Thank you.
Love that. So, Miss Nelly Nell, so what was your major and why did you choose it?
My major at Texas State University, go Bobcats, was geography with a concentration in planning and zoning.
Okay.
I also got a minor in business.
Oh, okay.
As well. And my plan was to do real estate planning, real estate development in the Austin area or anywhere, really. But it didn't work out that way.
Okay.
So.
It's okay. Okay. So in what way did it work?
What worked for me at the time while I was in school, I was also in sales, tech sales at Verizon Wireless.
Okay.
And I kind of just steered my path that way. It worked for me. And I actually liked it a lot. I loved selling. I loved building relationships with people. I loved being out there. And I loved technology. And so that kind of just spearheaded my career to different places and different things.
And then I love how you were able to change your major. You know, a lot of people feel like they pick one and then like they're stuck there. But yeah, you found out what works for you and switched it up.
And you're loving it.
I love that.
Yes, I do. I graduated with my geography degree.
Oh, okay.
I just didn't use it.
That's okay.
Got it though.
I was determined to finish, and I was that close, so I'm not going to change. I'm just going to stick with it. But I do feel like prior to graduation, I found my career path for what was for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
So I know that part of your higher education journey, you ended up becoming a mother too.
Yes.
So I wanted to know, did your perspective on higher education change after having the baby?
No, it actually motivated me to finish even more. After high school, I went to ACC. I actually started ACC while I was in high school. I was doing dual credit before I graduated. So I had some credits to apply and just said I'm going to just go to ACC for a year. And shortly after graduation, I got pregnant with my oldest son, who is now 18. And I was determined to finish. I'm a very driven, determined person, and I was not going to allow my son to stop me from accomplishing my goals. So right after I gave birth to him, I tried to go back to class 2 weeks later, and my teachers told me to go back home and do class online. They said, you need to rest and be at home with your baby. And that's how driven I was, but kind of out of my mind.
Okay,
So I just continued classes online at ACC until I was able to go back to in person.
That's the way to do it.
You know, that's actually, I was going to ask you, like, what was your experience like returning to school like, right after the baby? But it seems like she was ready to go.
She was ready to dive in.
I was young and just really not fully grasping what my new life was now that I had a baby.
Okay.
I was still thinking, I can do anything, and realizing that was a time to really take a break and be a mom. And it's okay to, I looked at not going to school as a failure. And so for me, it was, I cannot quit school, I have to keep going. So I'm grateful that I had a teacher that said, it's okay to rest, it's okay to go home and be with your baby, and school's always gonna be here.
I was gonna say, learning is never going nowhere.
So
it's never going nowhere,
They allowed me to do classes self-paced at home, finish my work at home, and I did. I continued to go to ACC until I was able to transfer to Texas State. I transferred in 2008 and graduated. I commuted back and forth. I didn't actually live in San Marcos. I commuted back and forth. I lived in North Austin and just caught the shuttle down there, and
like a 50-minute drive every day?
Yes, I did. Well, not every day. I did every other day. So I made sure my classes were Tuesdays and Thursdays, I think. And then I worked at Verizon the other days and still, made time for my baby.
And your baby, that's a full time.
You were driven.
Because you can never take breaks from being a mama. So to all of our moms out there going to school, shout out, you got this. Oh my God, you don't even know how you got this in the bag.
So I have to ask, what was your bats to cats experience like?
It was a smooth transition from I would say ACC and Texas State, or a lot of the Texas schools, they make it a really smooth transition to transfer. So
Good.
Initially, it was just commuting back and forth. I was just single vision and tunnel vision, and I said, I'm not here to make friends. I just want to go to school and go back home to my baby, go to work. And I met one good friend, and she opened me up to college life. She invited me to the parties, and she got me around. I didn't join any organizations or anything like that. I didn't really feel like I had the time, but having that good close girlfriend, she made me feel like I was a part of the Bobcat family. We went to football games together and basketball games together, so that helped me feel like I was an actual Bobcat and not just a commuter. So
people make the experience, and like, just because you go to a community college don't mean nothing. You gotta get it popping and rolling, okay? Because that's exactly what I did.
Well, we okay? Eventually we all did.
Exactly. So,
were you faced with any stigmas about being a young parent?
I think a lot of the stigma really came from myself.
Okay.
I think it came from me being too hard on myself. Judging myself.
Biggest critics. Our biggest critics.
Yes. And I was disappointed in myself, to be honest, for getting pregnant so young. And I know I had big dreams. I wanted to go to a HBCU after high school, and that just didn't happen for me. So I was more beating myself up, and I had to learn how to speak positive and speak affirmations within to myself. So I made it a goal that I was going to finish school for my son. He was my driving point. I wanted to be an example to him that there is nothing that can stop you from accomplishing your goals. It's only you that can stop you from accoming your goals. So I want to be an example to him.
Okay, that's a word. That is a word. Sprinkle. Write that down.
No, for real. Yeah, and having a child really doesn't stop nothing. Like, you'd agree, like you're the living and breathing example of that, right?
Yeah.
Like, having a child doesn't really stop anything.
No, it doesn't.
But because you said that your son was your driven force, which is beautiful, what exactly did he drive you to? Can you talk to us about your organizations and your profession?
Yeah, so I am now a certified Scrum Master. What that?
I'm about to say,
You got me clarification. You got it.
I coach a team of software developers, and I help them improve their workflow and their processes through agile methodologies.
Okay.
And I help remove any impediments or issues that may be getting in their way to achieve their project goal. I'm also a project manager for Black Mamas ATX. And Black Mamas, they provide free doula services to Black moms in the Central Texas area. I started working with Black Mamas because I started a project management business. In 2022, I was laid off from my job, and I think that happened a lot in tech around that time. And so I said, I got to make some money. So I reached out to friends and folks that I knew who were entrepreneurs and ran their own businesses and said, hey, do you need a project manager? Do you need someone to help you with anything, admin, whatever you need, I can help you with it. I started building clientele that way, and it just kind of became word of mouth, and started building my own clients, and Black Mamas became one of my clients, and now I'm a full-time project manager for them.
She's it.
Yes, ma'am. I sprinkle.
And this is so beautiful because I just love that people are going to see you and see this and just be like, hey, like, I could really do it if I want to.
So just to touch back on Black Mamas ATX, could you explain to us what a doula is and why would you recommend one?
Yes. A doula is someone that supports the mother during her pregnancy and postpartum, and also during delivery. She provides resources, she advocates for you. Yeah, mainly she also gives you comfort measures so that you can help ease your nerves while you're going through labor and delivery with your baby. So
wait, that's full service.
That's a full service, yes. I would suggest that Black women obtain a doula.
For sure.
Particularly a Black doula. If you're in Central Texas, particularly through Black Mamas ATX. We do work with so many other doula organizations, and we do collaborate quite a bit with other doula organizations in Austin. But the mortality rate, the mortality rate for Black women in particular is 1.5 times higher than other nationalities in Texas. So that's why I would recommend Black women get you a doula, get you someone that can advocate for you, someone that understands your culture, understands our traumas, and
make you feel comfortable.
And makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel safe.
What advice would you give to single parents and people that are pursuing higher education?
Don't give up. Even if it takes you... I graduated high school in 2004. I didn't get my college degree until 2012. So that's 8 years that it took me to get my college degree. Don't give up. If that's something that you really want to do, don't give up. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to take a break. But if that is your goal, don't give up. And find other avenues. It's okay to change your major if you want to, but just don't give up. And if you ever feel like you need motivation, look to the people around you to motivate you. Look to your ancestors to motivate you. They paved the way for all of us to get to where we are and to continue living and to continue living through them. So.
So do not give up.
Yes. Get you a mentor. Do not give up. Get you a mentor.
And delay is not denial.
Hey, that's a word.
Yeah. It's Miss Cindy preaching today.
Write that down. We got to pull the notebooks out. Well, as you know, our show is all about being bold and purposeful in your life. So do you have a quick story that maybe you could share with us and our viewers about when you were bold or purposeful and, a decision that you made that was important to you?
Starting my wig business, Nelly's Wigs Beautique, that was a bold decision because it started off as a hobby. I wasn't quite sure I was ready to make wigs for the public. But I got so many requests from just modeling my own wigs that I decided to start a business. And I actually learned how to sew by teaching myself, but I feel like it's a skill I got from my grandmother, who was very crafty with her hands, and she loved to sew and crochet. And I just felt that taking that skill that I inherited from my grandmother and starting a business with it was a bold decision. And I love to empower women to feel beautiful and confident, and that birthed Nelly's
that's
Beautique.
so beautiful.
I love that.
And I love how you took after your grandmother.
All right.
I love that.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for all that you do, from raising our future Black kings to supporting our Black queens on their journey to motherhood. And also by giving us insight on our Bats to Cats program.
Thanks for having me.
We loved having you here.
Yes.
Okay, everything.
And we enjoyed your insight on everything from geography to real estate.
Now we know to get a doula.
The outfit is serving. The red lip. Excuse me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Got nothing
It's a
on
pleasure.
Taylor Swift. It's like a red lip.
I enjoy being here. Thank you, guys.
So good.
To learn more about Nelly Nails Beautique and Black Mamas ATX, visit nellyswigboutique.com and blackmamasatx.com.
So we want to wrap up our show with a few positive insights we found, just to provide some light and optimism to our viewers.
Recent studies have shared that the Black population has grown fastest in states that have historically not had large numbers of Black residents.
In 2022, 26.1% of Black adults ages 25 and older, 7.8 million people, had earned at least a bachelor's degree. That was up from 14.5% in the 2000s.
Turn that up.
That's beautiful. You know, which means that we are taking the initiative in meeting criterias. You know, Black enrollment is going up.
Love that.
Up. Okay. To that end, the number of Black educators and administrators in K-12 schools and higher education institutions is on the rise, contributing to more diverse leadership.
These stats come from the Pew Resource Center, so if you have time, check it out for some more beautiful and uplifting information. We want to give a special shout out to our viewers for watching our first ever episode. And thank you to Nelly Nell for joining us today. We loved having you on the show. We hope you enjoy the show and will continue to tune in. Remember, you are worthy of school because it's for everyone. Right? We encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and be bold while you do it.
Always. Thank you for watching The Bold Way. We'll see you guys next time.